Okay, so you just went through the checklist, and if you checked off multiple warning signs, here's what you need to understand. Workplace retaliation isn't random. It follows that 8-stage pattern, the one I was just talking about in the other email. And I mapped this pattern across 30 years inside of executive HR. Thousands of cases, my own case too, same 8 stages over and over again, because the 8 stages go like this, right? Early stages are boundary testing, tone feedback, vague criticism. Middle stages are exclusion, contradictory expectations, workload manipulation. And late stages are documentation, formal processes, things like that. And then the final stage is PIP, investigation, and termination. And here's the dangerous part, right? The warning signs in the early stages look identical to the warning signs in the late stages. For example, right? I'm all twisted up, but for example, early in the pattern, your manager excludes you from a meeting, gives you contradictory feedback, wants things documented. Late in the pattern, here's the thing, right? Your manager excludes you from meetings, gives you contradictory feedback, and wants things documented. Get it? Same warning signs, but you're in a completely different phase. You're in a completely different part of the pattern. And the strategy is actually opposite, because early in the pattern, detailed documentation can protect you, but late in the pattern, that same documentation gets framed as employee is defensive and can't accept feedback. Early in the pattern, pushing back on contradictory expectations can work, but late in the pattern, that same pushback becomes employee is resistant to coaching. Same behavior, opposite outcome. So you can see where you are when you're outside the pattern, but when you're inside it itself, it makes it harder to see, and that's why people lose. They lose because they didn't see the warning signs. They lose because they use early pattern strategies late in the pattern game. And below this video, you'll see 3 options, right? And they're based on where you are likely in the 8-stage pattern. So the first option is if you're seeing the warning signs, but nothing is formal yet, you're early enough to prevent that. And that's what that option is for, option 1. Option 2 is that things are actively being documented, recap emails, manager wants everything in writing, and you're in the middle of the pattern, and that's when it moves the fastest. You need real-time support. That's option 2. Option 3 is you want to learn the full 8-stage pattern, right? The same one that I developed, the only one that exists that makes you know your next move and to actually see where you are now, where you can potentially be going, and it outlines your point in the pattern. You can click on that option, which is number 3, if that matches your situation. I'll show you what you actually need, which is not generic advice. It's very specific advice based on where you are in the pattern. Don't guess where you are. Use the early pattern strategy when you're late in the process, can really mess you up and lose your job, your sanity, and your future. So click on the button below. Tell me what stage that you're thinking you're in, and we'll connect soon on next steps.